Hey, so today I'm going to review these two books. This is Seraphina and this is Shadow Scale. They are a duology by Rachel Hartman. Seraphina is set in a world where there are dragons and humans and they have been at war for a really long time, but then there's a treaty and there's peace, and there's been peace for I think 40 years, but then someone in the human royal family is killed in a draconian kind of way that makes people suspicious, and the tension between the two species is kind of lifted up and comes out of the cracks. And it was already there before. There was always mistrust between dragons and humans, but now it's even more present. And this story is told through the perspective of Seraphina, who is new to the palace, and she is living there, and she's a musician, and she is like the assistant to like the head musician, and she also plays and she also teaches, and we get to see through her eyes she gets involved in the investigation of the royal family member who's killed, and yeah, she gets involved in that, and she also has secrets of her own to hide, because who doesn't? And that is the premise of this book. I really love the writing. The writing is amazing. Rachel Hartman is just an amazing, her writing is beautiful. There's no, it's beautiful, it's stunning. I read the prologue, and the first time I read it and the time I reread it this year, I read the prologue and I was just, wow. Like, it was just, read the prologue and be stunned and awed by how flawlessly and how well she just like pulls her sentences together and like just makes everything just, it's just beautiful. It's beautiful the way she writes. The descriptions are really great. Her world building is impeccable, and you just get to feel the world. Especially in the second book, you get to really, experience the world and see how well this world has been built. In this book it is really good as well. I really like the characters. They were all really interesting and unique, and Seraphina is a really awesome character. She's smart and she acts in a smart way, so the plot never moves forward because of her stupidity, which is great to see. And I really loved her mind. She has a really interesting mind. If you've read the book, then you know that she has an awesome mind, and I just love the way that it works, and I don't know, it's just, I've never seen that done before, and it was like an extra layer to the story. And of course, I love the dragons. I mean, come on, dragons. I love dragons. The dragons were awesome. I loved how unusual they were in this book. The only thing I didn't really like was the romance. It wasn't that it was too present, it wasn't really there at all. I didn't feel the chemistry between the two characters, and it might have been because it wasn't really, like, their relationship wasn't really developed at all. But yeah, the romance just, I don't know, didn't entice me at all, but still I really love this book, and I give it a 5 out of 5. Book number 2 is Shadow Scale, and this happens 3 months later, and that's all I'm going to tell you about it. All that I liked about Seraphina, I liked about this book. So the setting, the characters, the writing, I loved about Seraphina, and I loved that about this book as well. And the setting and the world building got even better in this book, I feel, because there's a map in the front, there is traveling, and so we get to see this amazing, there's a map. We get to see this amazing world that Rachel Hartman has created, and there's like all these different cultures and customs and languages and people, and there's just these little things, like names of places. Like it seems like she has this whole world in her head, and she's only showing us, the parts of it that are important to the story, but it just felt when I was reading it like she created this huge, amazing, richly, like very intricately built world, and we were getting to see part of it, but like not even the whole thing. Like it just felt so like well built together, I guess, and it was just amazing. Like the writing was amazing, the world building was amazing, and I love getting to see the different aspects in different places in the story. Unfortunately though, I had quite a few problems with this book. The main one is the plot. Even though the plot is more of a focus in this book than it was in the first book, I felt like the arc of the story was less strong in this book. The start of the story was info-dumpy because of all the characters in new places. The middle was a little bit repetitive at times, and the end and the way things resoluted or came together was just kind of a little bit rushed and strange. Just thinking about how it ended, it was a good ending, but how things came together was just so strange and weird, and I didn't believe it. Like, I just didn't believe what was happening. The author didn't like make it believable to me, and it just felt strange, and I didn't like it. But I still liked it at the same time because I liked the way that it ended. I just didn't like how it got there. So yeah, didn't really like the plot. And also the way that things developed because there's so much traveling, Seraphina is away from a lot of people, so relationships that were developed in the first book aren't really developed in this book, and I felt that loss because those were the things that I really liked about the first book, or one of the things I really liked were the relationships between Seraphina and different people, and I just felt like it was lacking in that. And the new people that we got to meet were interesting, but I wanted that development in one relationship in particular, but also in the romance as well. It was so strange for there to not be that much development in the romance because they were so separated for much of the book that like it didn't feel like they moved forward at all, which was really strange. I really just wish this was a trilogy because I feel like it would have like been better, and the structure would have been better, and the arc of the plot maybe would have worked better, and there would have been more time for me to like get to know the new people and for things to develop and for old kind of relationships to develop, and also for things to be explained. There were some things in regards to like the magic fantasy aspects that were not really explained. They were kind of there, and there was a little bit of explanation given, but not enough. And I really liked those aspects. Like I wanted to know more about the fantasy and the dragons and all that stuff. So yeah, I did enjoy this book. I did enjoy reading it, but it was a little bit disappointing to me. I'm giving it 3.5 out of 5. And that is my review of these two books. If you have any thoughts on them, leave them in the comment section below. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time. Bye!